a 3D driving simulation on the Genesis, well, this isn't gonna work. It's gonna be just like hard driving. I mean, the frame rate's gonna be horrible, it's gonna be hard to control, it's just gonna be an awful game. Well, I was actually pleasantly surprised. This is a 3D driving racing simulation on the Genesis that actually kind of works. I mean, it's actually fun. This is not hard driving. The cars handle pretty well, and the game has this classic 16-bit Genesis music that I just want to listen to in my sleep. This is a 3D driving game for the Genesis that you can actually get into, and it's not just racing against the clock. You can race against opponents that you actually see in the gameplay. And also, you have to avoid traffic, either going towards you or traffic that's in your lane. And on top of all that, there's cop cars in the various places you drive in that you have to avoid, and the only reason they're coming after you is because you're young and 16-bit. Now, the actual foreground where you play the game is 3D, but the background is just a still picture, but that's not a complaint. I think it's cool. The levels are varied enough where you actually don't feel like you're driving around the same exact place over and over. Now, while the levels are different in terms of aesthetic properties, the cars don't actually handle differently in the several different levels in the game. Like if you're driving around a forest place, your car is gonna handle exactly the same as when you're driving around a place that's a more arid desert environment. And just like there are a few different levels, there's also a few different cars which all have different interiors, so you're gonna feel like you're driving a different car. At least it's gonna look different, but they all handle about the same, which is exactly what you'd expect from a game of that era. Let's enjoy the pizza we're eating right now and not think about a pizza with more toppings. Now, unlike hard driving for the Genesis, this is not a port from an arcade. I think that's one of the main reasons hard driving wasn't that good. They took something that works on a completely different system, the arcade, and of course that can dilute things. I mean, I think moving games from the arcade to a home console isn't like regular cooking, it's more like baking. The proportions have to be just right. You have to do it in a calculated way so the frame rate doesn't suffer, the sound effects don't suffer, the gameplay ultimately doesn't suffer. I think that's one of the reasons this 3D driving game is actually good, because it wasn't taken from somewhere else where it could perform better. It was made specifically for various home consoles. In terms of the game's graphical properties, it's not that impressive. I mean, yes, it does look good. I love the fact that the view is from the interior of the car. You're actually moving the wheel. You see all the numbers moving around. You see how much fuel you have. You see how fast you're going. You see the gear stick. It's fantastic. It's like an honest-to-God simulation of an actual driving racing game. But its actual 3D aspects are not that impressive in the slightest. A lot of racing games from that particular era had graphics much like this. I think the thing that makes this game stand out the most is this fantastic interior view. You turn the lights off in your room while you're playing this at night, and you feel like you're actually in the world, driving around, avoiding the cops and all the flat 2D cars that are in your lanes or that are in the oncoming traffic. Of course, this is not Gran Turismo 6, but for some relaxing retro gaming fun on a slow, easygoing Saturday morning, it ain't half bad. This game gets an official Stan Birdman rating of a 7.8 out of 10. Thanks for watching. Goodbye, my friends.